You can follow the most perfect diet on the planet, run 5 grueling miles every single day, and exhaust yourself with 100 crunches every morning before the sun even comes up. You can be the most disciplined person in the gym, yet if your body is trapped in a hidden, silent state of survival, that stubborn belly fat is simply never going to leave. In fact, there is a cruel irony at play here. The harder you punish your body in the gym, the tighter it might actually hold on to that weight. For decades, the fitness industry has sold us a lie, that losing visceral fat is a war. We are conditioned to believe we must fight our cravings, fight our natural fatigue, and essentially fight against our own biological systems. We treat our bodies like enemies that must be conquered through sheer force. But in Japan, the cultural and biological approach is entirely different. It is not about fighting. It is about signaling safety. I felt this exact same crushing frustration about a year ago. I was doing everything right. I was walking every single day, eating a clean and disciplined diet, drinking green tea by the gallon, and following every piece of advice on the internet. My overall weight did dip slightly, but that stubborn pocket of fat around my midsection, the visceral fat, remained. It was as if my body was holding onto it deliberately. Like a treasure, it refused to surrender. No matter how much I deprived myself, it simply refused to let go. So I began to research the deep biological why behind this phenomenon. I discovered something that completely revolutionized my approach. The reason visceral fat is so stubborn comes down to one primary driver: cortisol. The science of survival. Understanding. Cortisol is often called the body's main stress hormone. When your cortisol levels remain elevated for long periods, your body receives a direct biochemical signal to store fat deep inside your abdomen, wrapped tightly around your vital organs. This isn't a glitch in your system. It is an ancient survival mechanism. Thousands of years ago, stress was a signal of physical danger, a predator nearby, or a looming famine. In response, your body would store energy in the midsection so it could access it quickly during a life or death crisis. The tragedy of the modern world is that our cortisol is now elevated almost constantly. We aren't being chased by lions, but our nervous systems can't tell the difference between a predator and a high-stress email from a boss, a looming financial deadline, poor sleep, or the endless information overload of social media. Your body just knows that cortisol is high, so it continues to hoard fat to protect you. As long as that hormone is elevated, your body has a biological mandate to hold on to that fat. You have to bring the cortisol down first. You have to make your body feel safe. Only then will it naturally start letting go. To achieve this, I turned to 5 specific Japanese practices that helped me drop my levels and finally lose the fat that wouldn't budge. Practice 1. The evening bath ritual, Ofuro. The first practice is the evening bath ritual. In Japan, taking a hot bath in the evening is not just a way to get clean, it is a sacred cultural pillar. Almost everyone soaks in water around 40 degrees C, 104 degrees, for 10 to 20 minutes before heading to bed. The science here is remarkable. Warm water immersion activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and repair mode. It physically relaxes the muscles and signals to the brain that the day is over and you are now in a safe environment. I remember my grandfather, Dyke, who bathed every single evening of his life. He was one of the leanest and calmest men I have ever known. He used to tell me, "The bath is where you leave today behind so that tomorrow can start clean." He viewed it as a spiritual and physical shedding of stress. When I adopted this, my sleep improved immediately. Within 3 or 4 weeks, the puffiness around my midsection began to soften. If you don't have a tub, a hot foot soak in a basin, for 15 minutes creates a very similar cortisol-lowering effect. The key is consistent warm water exposure combined with stillness. It tells your nervous system to drop out of survival mode. Practice 2. Morning sunlight and slow walking second. Is the practice of morning sunlight combined with slow walking. In Japan, the morning walk is a generational staple, especially among the elderly who maintain some of the lowest visceral fat rates in the world. The magic happens when morning sunlight hits your eyes within the first hour of waking. This triggers the production of serotonin, the hormone that directly counteracts cortisol. Furthermore, it resets your circadian rhythm. A healthy rhythm means cortisol peaks in the morning to wake you up and drops in the evening to let you sleep. I started walking for 15 to 20 minutes every morning in a quiet neighborhood in Nagoya. Crucially, I leave my earphones at home. I don't listen to podcasts or music. I just walk slowly. This is a vital distinction. Gentle, low-intensity movement lowers cortisol far more effectively than intense cardio. Very intense workouts actually raise cortisol temporarily. If you are already stressed, a hard gym session might be the reason your belly fat is staying put. The Japanese approach of gentle consistency is the biological key. Practice 3. The art of forest bathing, Shinrin-yoku. The third practice is Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. Developed in the 1980s as a Japanese public health initiative, it involves spending time in a natural environment and absorbing the atmosphere through all 5 senses. Research shows that people walking in forests have significantly lower cortisol and lower blood pressure than those walking in urban environments. The clean air, the scent of the trees, phytoncides, and the absence of digital noise bring the nervous system into deep relaxation. Once a week, I travel 30 minutes outside of Nagoya to a forested area. I have no agenda. I don't try to exercise. I just breathe and listen to the wind in the leaves. Every time I leave, I feel like a physical weight has been lifted from my chest. That persistent background hum of anxiety finally goes quiet. If you don't have a forest, any green space with trees will work, as long as you leave your phone behind. Practice 4. Intentional Tanden breathing. Fourth is Tanden breathing. In Japanese martial arts and Zen meditation, there is a massive emphasis on breathing through the Tanden, a point about 3 centimeters below the belly button. This is essentially deep diaphragmatic breathing. Science tells us that this type of deep breathing activates the vagus nerve, which is the kill switch for stress. When the vagus nerve is stimulated, cortisol production drops almost instantly. The practice is simple. Sit comfortably. Place your awareness on your lower abdomen and breathe, so that your belly expands like a balloon on the inhale and gently contracts on the exhale. Just 5 minutes is enough to create a measurable drop in cortisol. My grandfather used to do this every morning by the window. As a child, I thought he was just sitting there doing nothing. Now, I realize those were the most productive minutes of his day. He was building the foundation of calm that supported his entire life. I now practice this twice a day, once after my morning walk and once before my evening bath. Practice 5. Sleeping like your life depends on it. Finally, the most important pillar. Sleeping like your life depends on it. In Japan, rest is treated with deep respect. There is even a concept called inamuri, napping in public, which is accepted because the culture understands that sleep is a functional necessity, not a luxury. When it comes to visceral fat, sleep is the master variable. Studies show that sleeping only 4 to 5 hours a night spikes cortisol levels and causes massive insulin resistance. When you are sleep deprived, your body perceives a state of emergency. It hoards fat around your organs to protect you from the perceived threat. During my most stressful time in Nagoya, I was only sleeping 4 hours a night and wondering why. My stomach wouldn't flatten despite my exercise. Once I prioritized 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep, my midsection changed visibly within a month. My grandfather was in bed by 9:30 p.m. and awake by 5 a.m. every single day. He didn't sleep in on weekends. He kept his rhythm identical. That consistency is just as important as the duration, because your cortisol cycle thrives on regularity. Conclusion: signaling safety. Let's recap the journey. The evening bath releases the day's tension and lowers cortisol. Morning: sunlight and slow walking reset your biological clock. Forest bathing provides deep nervous system recovery. Tanden breathing activates your body's rest and digest mode via the vagus nerve. Quality sleep is the foundation upon which everything else is built. These practices are gentle. They are simple. There is no suffering or extreme willpower required. And that is exactly why they work. Forcing your body through extreme measures creates a survival state that leads to more cortisol and more fat storage. The Japanese approach is the opposite. You calm the body, you calm the mind, and then your body naturally lets go of what it no longer needs to hold. If any of these practices resonated with you, I would love to hear which one you plan to start with. Let me know in the comments. Please take care of your body, and more importantly, take care of your peace. They are working together more closely than you realize. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.